Nord's going to be a fun third place. And we've talked about third places a lot on this show, and we've talked a lot about third places this episode. And we always do a draft. We go 5 things. You do 5 things. I do 5 things.
True. Well, hold on. Did we ever define third place?
I don't know. Can you give me a little definition of
Sure,
third place?
So,
I learned about third places from you, by the way.
Oh, sure. Okay.
I would say about 10 years ago. You were the first person to teach me about third places. So what's a third place?
Sure. So it's in. There's been a lot of a big body of research around the concept of third place, but in very short part, you have your first place, which is where you live. And you have your second place, which is either your place of employment or a place that kind of gives you a broader connection for those that maybe aren't in the job market, but something that's really intended around kind of building your livelihood. So as you know, we kind of have our home worlds, our work worlds, and then there's these places that are in between all of that where you can build community and create connection, and those are your third places. And there's a huge variety of third places. There's places of worship that can be people's third places. Yeah. There's coffee houses. There's local bars. There's golf courses. I mean, the list goes on and on of what third places are. So it's a very broad category. The way that I kind of use it is around places that are intentionally designed to foster those kind of connections. So they realize that people use their space for that to build those connections, and so they really try and be intentional around fostering that over and over.
Amazing. So as part of that, we want to go down a little bit of a list of our favorite third places. So we're talking about our favorite places that are not work, they're not home, but they're a place for people to gather. And we're going to go top 5 on this. We're going to put some parameters around it. Your top 3, so the first 3 you choose have to be in Midland.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you the floor. As the guest, you always get the first pick.
Oh, as the first pick. Okay. All right. This is not going to come by surprise to those that have listened to this whole episode, so I'm going to go with Live Oak. And like I said, it's their 8th anniversary. I was just thrilled that Live Oak was built and thought of, and just the intentionality around Midtown. And I always kind of say, if you're looking to just have really interesting run-ins with a whole host of community people, just pop up at Live Oak from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on any weekday morning, and you will see anywhere from 5 to 30 people that I mean, it's crazy. It's awesome, and it's a great environment. It's well designed. It's very comfortable. It's aesthetically pleasing. It's got all the things. So yes, that would be my first choice.
Live Oak's Midland's meeting place. That's what I refer to it as. Even right before this episode, here at JNC Media, Josh from JNC was taking a photo of someone he knew out here to mess with them and send it to him. And it's you just have these type of organic connections with people here.
You do.
At Live Oak Coffeehouse. That is unbelievable. And I ran into Renee Decker earlier, and I couldn't help it. I just said, I think this is the most important business in Midland in the last 20, 30 years. It's just incredible what they've been able to build, because the social benefits of Live Oak have gone far beyond anything anyone could ever imagine, to the point where we don't have the Maxwell's Midland show here if it's not for that. Maybe Brad doesn't come on the show. Maybe you two don't meet. Maybe North Social doesn't open. Maybe Maxwell's Midland doesn't exist at all. I have no idea what the butterfly effect of Live Oak Coffeehouse not existing would be. It would be extremely detrimental. So
yeah. Oh yeah. All right. So what's your first pick?
So I knew I wasn't gonna be able to get Live Oak, giving you the first pick. So I always knew this would end up being my first pick. And for those who listen to the show or watch regularly, this is gonna be no surprise to anyone. I'm gonna choose Dow Diamond. I love a baseball game, and I love a place that people can gather. And even if it is minor league baseball, it's people getting together for a common thing.
Oh, yeah.
And, I have a lot of friendships that really flourish at the ballpark. And every single year, I just love sitting out on the lawn or standing around the concourse, talking to everyone from the community. And it really doesn't get any better than that, rallying around something that represents your region and your area. And it's not just a space that I see people from Midland in. I really love Dow Diamond because I see people from Gladwin County there, where I'm from Beaverton, and see people from, all over the place. And what a great time. So.
Oh yeah. Great choice. Also aesthetically pleasing. I mean, that place,
beautiful.
Over 15 years old now.
Aged so well.
Yeah, it is brilliant, and just is really fantastic. The scale of it on the outside, they were so intentional around nods to mid-century modern architecture, and just how it fits into the built environment there, and kind of bridges the manufacturing facility on one side with downtown. It's awesome. Completely agree. And whether you go with yourself or you go with 30 friends, there is space for everyone.
Absolutely.
It's a cool spot. Yeah.
Great leadership under Chris Mudhand currently,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they've always had good leadership too.
Very much so.
But just, you talked about the mid-century modern influence. They're a high A affiliate of the Los Angeles Dodgers, who play in the only mid-century modern stadium in Major League Baseball. And
Oh, yeah.
I know it's not intentional for them to be a Dodgers affiliate, but
Right.
it's just kind of funny it worked out that way. So
Definitely.
yeah. So
Very good.
second pick.
All right. So my second pick is I was thinking intentionally about this, and I thought, maybe one that may be a little RIP behind, but the original Larkin Beer Garden. So I know it's
Amazing.
not there on Larkin anymore, but if I think back to just a place that brought me connected to a bunch of people I just hadn't been before, or that helped take some friendships to the next level, or some business relationships to the next level, or just a variety of things, that parking lot was awesome. Like pre pandemic for sure. I mean, I can think back to just it being just full of people and kids and dogs and people that were in full suits, and also people that had just come off of their job working on in construction, or the like. So it was just a really wonderful spot, and I don't know if that counts in a draft of current places, but I'm gonna go with it because LBG has always been fantastic and a great thing that Midland did for downtown.
I think it's still relevant enough, and it's funny because it went away for a little bit over to Dow Diamond, and then it returned back to Larkin. And thank you, you were the manager of it that year, and or at least the person kind of leading that charge. So I really appreciate you bringing it back for at least the 1 year, so we could get one little more taste of it. And it was always funny when it went away to Dow Diamond. I remember Midland Gazette posting something about there was just something about that parking lot full of rocks, and we loved it. And so yeah, shout out to Midland Gazette, whoever runs that, Ben Tierney. Either way, I thought that was just an amazing place, and I met so many people I'm still friends with to this day.
Yeah,
So-
agreed.
But there's an interesting reason why we grew past the necessity for a place like the Larkin Beer Garden, and that's going to be my next pick. So I'm going to jump you.
I was hoping it would be. Okay,
And
all right.
it leads logically to this next place, the Pedestrian Plaza in downtown Midland. And I just really want to thank the city of Midland for having the foresight, and city council for continuing on with this mission to bring the Pedestrian Plaza forward every single summer, because man, it takes the idea of the Larkin Beer Garden and expands it times like 20, 30. So there's no reason to compete with it anymore. And, we've graduated from the Larkin Beer Garden, and there's a lot of ideas that are great in a certain time, but just no longer necessary in that specific place, and don't want it to be competition. And Pedestrian Plaza, being able to go down, and it's not about drinking. It's about gathering, and it's about being around people, and it's about being with your friends. And you can pop into any of the businesses downtown. I love grabbing a sandwich at Amazing Deli. Maybe you do go grab a cocktail at Three Bridges. It's just the ability to be able to move around in one another and remove the barriers of walls. Like legitimately and literally remove the barriers between humans, and the Pedestrian Plaza does it better than just about anywhere else I've ever seen.
Oh, agreed.
Outside of Midland, anywhere, worldwide, honestly. It is an incredible place for people to gather, and it takes the idea of how there's an issue with cars not driving right through your downtown to drive business and removes it. It says, we don't need them anyways.
Right.
It's so great. So I'm going Pedestrian Plaza number 2.
That's a great choice. Great choice. I think that space is huge. I mean, Main Street is a wide street, and you've got a lot of space between the buildings that are facing one another, and then they put the stage up right at McDonald and Main, and going on a Friday or Saturday with great weather in the summertime, it is packed.
Yeah.
And it's honestly, I think, one of the maybe best kept secrets of Midland, or something that I think a lot of people in the region would really, really enjoy if they experienced it, because it's a very different environment than what you get in a lot of other parts of the community, and certainly something that's very different post-pandemic. Which is really cool. And there are times, I will say, where you walk down there in the middle of the week and you feel like you see a tumbleweed, because there's just not a lot of activity. But I don't know if that's just culturally, we haven't really thought of that as like, you can still go use it at other times. And so maybe that's kind of what I'd love to say to people that maybe are listening, is like, go activate that spot at different times, or go talk to the city and see if you can do your group fitness class there, or do some type of poetry reading, or use that space in a variety of ways. And I know the city would definitely entertain any type of idea or work with you to make it fit for what you're trying to accomplish. But I think that's one thing I'd love to see more activation throughout the week, is bringing more people into that space, and then allowing them to go patronize the businesses while they're down there too.
People want to talk about what's possible in that area. Go back and listen to the episode I had with Katie Geyer when she was with the city. Adult Recess is such a cool program, and it's just interesting, and it doesn't take much to put it on. You just pop up, put some hula hoops and some cornhole. And it gives people some things to do. We already mentioned Allie Huntoon, but Allied Group Fitness does classes down there, which is just cool. And sometimes you'll walk down and just see a full fitness class in front of that stage, which is just absolutely amazing. Prior to any of that, I remember a Grant Murschel about 5, 6, 7 years ago doing dance parties down there.
Hey, Lunch Beat.
Lunch Beat. Was that part of My Pros, or was it just organic?
It was just organic. I would create Facebook events, #Lunch Beat, and we'd just get a Bluetooth speaker and we'd go dance somewhere for like 20 minutes. I actually got it, shocking, out of Sweden. But there's a place in Gothenburg, Sweden called Don Matteo, and they have this really cool courtyard, and it really gets activated when there's the first kind of warm sunlight of the spring. But they do a thing called Lunch Beat, which is just a 20-minute kind of, in Scandinavian house music and electronica is really popular. So they just kind of get some beats going and people just dance for a few minutes. And it's really cool what they've created there. And back pre-pandemic, tried to give it a go to do that kind of stuff. And maybe it'll come back at Nord. That'd be kind of cool.
Hey, we'll bring back Lunch Beat.
There we go.
Could be a good old time.
You're right. But yeah, Adult Recess, honestly, great example of activation throughout the week. And just if Midland can continue to build on that, there's a whole big public space there that's just waiting for new ideas and just niches of people to kind of come and make it their own.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
all right, is it me now?
Yeah, I want your third.
All right, so you talked about group fitness classes.
Yeah.
I will say, and it's not because we worked on the furniture, but really, the brand new community center is like top-notch, high quality.
Amazing.
Love that place. It's very well designed. It's very open. It's airy. It's everything you want out of a workout facility in our area on gray January days. And I'm so excited to get into the spring and their first kind of full year and going into year 2. And one of the things that I know we kind of joke about networking out whenever you and I are at the place, because we do more yapping than we probably do working out. But yeah, you see all sorts of people there too. And I'm excited. Just joined a co-ed volleyball league that starts there. And you can see my sweatshirt too. Big volleyball fan. We can talk about that if you want.
I'm going to ask you at the end.
But yeah, no, I think between volleyball leagues and building connection over the years there, or just simply interacting with people at the new facility, which is so open and easy to connect with people, very well designed building and definitely top third place.
I was a community center member a long time ago, and it just felt really closed off. You had to travel all these different hallways to get to places, and still an incredible facility. And, I think, again, we're talking about great leaders. I just really love Terry Johnson and what she's able to do over there. And
Andrea, Shane.
Oh my gosh. They're in such a good position with their staff. And they really brought this project forward in a way that felt extremely intentional. And what sold me was late November, I went in there, and you were there that night. And it was just interesting. I ended up going down to the hot tub, and I thought to myself, I was sitting in the hot tub. I had a friend in the sauna. You were playing drop-in volleyball. My significant other, she was lifting weights upstairs. My coworker was walking the track. And I thought to myself, this is an absolute incredible conversion of people here. And I knew at that moment I had to be a member. Because when I was younger, we would come to the Midland Community Center living in Beaverton, and it was always a very specific trip to come use the leisure pool.
Oh, sure.
And it was treated very much as kind of like a vacation thing. And I always thought it was set up pretty optimally for that. But I think they flipped it now. It feels really optimal for a membership because you walk in there and it's just open to you and you see it all and you know exactly what to expect. And even last night, I found myself playing basketball, and it was multi-generational. It was myself, my coworker Kristen, her 2 11-year-old twins. My coworker Louise was walking around the track upstairs. Somebody else I used to work with was walking up there.
Yeah.
People I see with kids coming through, and it was just an awesome conversion of people. And I'm upset you took that as your third pick. So
shoot, we did not compare lists, so now we're having to scramble.
Well, we're not supposed to. We're not supposed to.
That's a good point. So, all right.
Well, and this place deserves to get mentioned by me specifically. It's a very personal place for me, but I really love Diamond Gyms. When I first moved to the community, Diamond Gyms became a place where I just really enjoyed the food and I enjoyed the service. And a lot of times those relationships turned into similar to family, and you bicker with people like family. And I love Donald until I'll die. And he's just an incredible bartender, incredible server. And Jim created a place for people in downtown Midland. And he took that spirit with him over to Wackerly, and Jim recently passed. So I just want to remember him for a moment and what he was able to build. And that menu stays consistent. You know exactly what you're going to get for food. I usually can tell you the people that are going to be in there before I walk in there, which I really like.
Yeah.
And it's just a great place to meet with people, and a great place to have some dinner.
Yeah. Agreed. It's been great to see them do well in the new location, and spent a lot of time there with just different friends and after work and things when they were downtown, and so good choice.
Absolutely. So. Now you can get outside the comfort zone if you want to.
All
so
right.
I think I know what's coming next, but what's your next pick?
You know what? I'm going to go maybe something a little bit different, and I'm going to kind of think back to what really attracted me to third places was my undergrad experience in Montana.
Okay.
And Bozeman, Montana, for those that maybe haven't heard about Bozeman or learned about Bozeman at all, is a mountain town in Big Sky country. And they've always had just a really strong ethos of locally owned, locally operated coffee houses, a really top-notch food co-op. There's whole long list, but specifically there's a place called the Coffee Pot that does their own handmade pottery, Mountain Arts pottery.
All right.
Out in Four Corners in the Gallatin Valley by Bozeman. And it's a family, or really just friends of mine that really feel like family in a lot of ways, that just how closely we got over college. But yeah, I would say that's one of my top third places. Fantastic food, great coffee. Just a really kind of small niche little cottage that they've turned into a showroom for their pottery, and a really great kitchen, and spent a lot of time there in undergrad. And definitely Bozeman's third place scene still is, but definitely back when I was there in school. I always thought it was really cool. You could walk into a coffee house downtown, and you could be just working on your econ paper, and you'd look over and there'd be an architect that's got their plans sprawled out on the table next to you, that's going on with, building this house for this couple that may have flown in from someplace in the US or international, and they're kind of working through some things that they need to. And then you look over to the next table, and there's a group of ladies that maybe are talking about a book, a group of men that are maybe getting together. It's just, it was always just really cool to kind of see how the environment really was fine-tuned to what people needed. And I knew when I moved back to Midland, I wasn't necessarily going to have that. But I will say, Espresso Milano has always been a spot that I've gone to ever since high school. Oh yeah, still do, still go and meet people there regularly. And but yeah, it was just another level to really see a high concentration of that in downtown, around the campus, and out to where Coffee Pot is a few miles out of town.
Now, I wanted to mention something about where I came from, too. And I went through my mind and, what was I going to mention for Beaverton? And I thought about the Roy F. Johnston Gymnasium on a Friday night for a basketball game, which kind of becomes our community's meeting room. I thought about the bowling alley where my grandpa bowled every single Wednesday night, and I spent time there. And you'd see kids you went to school with, the adults that care about you in your life, and your teachers and everyone else. And I almost went there. I almost went Beaverton Activity Center. I think what they've been able to do with my old elementary school is amazing use of space and provides a place similar to the community center. But
yeah,
I'd be lying if I said it's one of my favorites, because I'm not there.
Sure.
I go to the community center as well here in Midland.
Sure.
But a place that I do go to sometimes back home and still feel that third place feel is the Beaverton Tavern. It's a place you and I have went together. It's on the corner of Brown Street. And it's right there on M18 and Brown, and I think that it's just an absolute amazing place for that's been brought back. And those community cornerstones are so important to a small town, and for that to be owned by a family of people that I love and care about a lot. And I want to give a shout out to my friend Taylor Smith and her family for taking that project on and really bringing back a special place for Beaverton. And you and I were both at Fall Fest earlier this year where they shut down their street.
Oh,
and it's just a cool convergence to see that type of life happening back home as well. So, So I'm going to go with the tavern.
It was cool. I mean, when we were there for Fall Fest in Beaverton, just to see the people that came together to organize the closure of the street, to bring in the band, to do the family fun earlier in the day, that's awesome. Like, to do that on a street that really changes the way that people interact with the community, it's amazing where things can go from there. And props to the folks that just really put the effort in to make that happen. That was really cool.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Final one.
So
now maybe I know where you're going.
Yeah, I think you are. I think you do. So this is definitely a big inspiration of mine for Nord Social, but there is a bar in Detroit called Collect, and they're now on, I believe, their third iteration of location.
Yes.
I was first introduced to them when they were in Eastern Market in this really cool niche of a building with a little bit of a rooftop and just a very small space, and just great bartender, very friendly, Eric. They moved out to a spot that's in an area that has seen some new investment, but a lot of disinvestment, a lot of abandoned structures that have been torn down over the years, but some really great stuff that's happening on that specific block. And so Collect is just soft spot in my heart for sure. And it's a really cool thing that they do to create in community, environment, connection. The stuff they do around the Celtic soccer team, and that kind of thing is just really awesome to see people bring, kind of claim it as their own, and then want to be able to facilitate what it looks like. I mean, they just did like a really cool pop-up birthday party for a longtime patron of theirs earlier this month, and I just thought that was so wonderful because they surprised her. She had no idea.
Yeah,
and they were just like, "Hey, you come here all the time. You're one of us. You're part of our family. Like, happy birthday!"
It's amazing.
Yeah, and it's just cool to see when businesses do that kind of thing, and so Collect for sure would be a good third place.
So I'm going to go with another spot that is, it's actually going to be outside of the area too. I'm going to go with another big city. I'm going to go Chicago on this one. This is a bar that I was introduced to by my friend Mike, who is kind of aficionado in this kind of understanding where these spaces are and how to find them. But there's a bar in Chicago called Sportsman's Club, and Sportsman's is an extremely interesting spot with a backyard where they have like pop-up chefs and like these weird like food events. And every time I'm in Chicago, I have to go to Sportsman's. It's also the #1 account of Miller High Life in the state of Illinois. Don't ask me how I know that. I just know that.
Yeah, that's a badge of honor.
You know, there's cool animals on the wall, and it's just a place for people. And and that's what we're looking for. And it always becomes one of those spaces where I just feel like folks are gathering here and folks are getting to know one another here, and that's extremely important. So I think a lot of people are going to listen to this draft and tell you I'm a liar because I didn't put Buffalo Wild Wings on the list, but I intentionally stayed away from a corporate location. So, but you know, the motto is always wings, beer, sports. So
hey, there you go.
Shout out to my friends at Buffalo Wild Wings as well.
Oh yeah. That honestly, talk about really a true third place.
Yes.
I mean, corporate for sure, but at the same time, like, I've had a lot of fun at Buffalo Wild Wings, just watching games and hanging out. So many wings over the years, and great staff.
So many wings.
Yeah, so many wings. But just great, great staff, and just it's a cool spot. And
nobody treats Buffalo Wild Wings like a hometown bar like Midland, so so it's just awesome. But subscribe wherever you consume media. Maxwell's Midland is your entertainment, resources, and collective improvement hub for Midland County. Plan your next adventure in Midland at maxlovesmidland.com.